Thank you guys for having me. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for taking the time. I know these are a lot of interviews. I'm doing this with Cope over in Alameda. My name is Dion Bailey. I'm a council member here in the city of Hercules. I've served on city council in Hercules for 8 years. This is finishing up the eighth year. Professionally, I have worked as an airport duty manager for over 20 years at LAX, San Francisco, and doing the same type of work at these airports, San Francisco, LAX, SFO. Sort of a mini city manager role. I want to be clear. It's a day-to-day thing. It's not the full operations, but I do work with police and fire in that capacity because each of the airports have those departments on staff. So we coordinate to keep our passengers safe. Um, before that, rather after that, I've joined IBW 1245, which is one of our local unions. I represent municipal employees, so city employees up and down the 80 corridor. And I've been a shop steward at IBW for over 20 years, and we represent about 30,000 employees. I see time is running out here. What I will add is just that educational wise, I hold an MBA and a bachelor's degree in business, and I've been doing public service for 25 plus years.
Thank you, Dion. The first question is, what are your top three priorities if elected, and how will they be funded?
Sure. Top priorities are economic development. I think it's critical for a city our size. We're about 26,000 residents. We have a budget of about $24 million. And I think it's essential that we find ways to grow small businesses. And we've been doing that. Councilmember Grimsley in town and others have put together programs to support small businesses. One of those is grant programs. The thing is, by supporting small business, we continue to give, right? Because it generates tax revenue to pay for important city services. Um, and so the goal is to continue to promote that. So economic development, financial sustainability. We're a low property tax city, so on average, we get back from the county about $280 per parcel. So it's important that we are very careful in how we spend public funds. I think we've done that. The challenge is just the costs are outgrowing our income. So we need to continue to find ways to be financially sustainable. I have worked with our former state senator, Nancy Skinner's office, to earn an $8 million grant. Others have brought in other money. One of our council members was able to bring in $800,000 in grant money, and then another 2 million from a different council member. So we're constantly looking for ways to maintain our financial sustainability. And then the last thing is just public safety. We are a very safe community, but our residents sometimes feel that we aren't. It's a feeling because the data shows that we are a very safe community. So we continue to do things to keep our residents safe, maintain our proper ratio. We generally keep one officer per 1,000 residents. And so we want to maintain that ratio.
Great, thank you. Maria, do you have the next question?
Hey, good afternoon, Council Member Maria Alegria. Welcome. My question is, how would you work with others to support the city's priorities?
I work collaboratively with the council to try and do that every day. We've done it regionally, support our programs. Again, speaking of Nancy Skinner and going to her in January of the year that I was mayor, and then receiving those funds very shortly, 6 months later, as part of the state's budget. So it's about collaboration, showing our joint needs and how Hercules issues also affect the community, right? The region. And that goes to our Hercules, what was called the Intermodal Transit Center, now called the Hercules Hub. That is a regional train stop. It benefits the entire region on the Amtrak line. And we have partnered with other West County agencies to get funding for that. We've received about $40 million to date. We're building towards our next $20 million build, but those are all regional programs. I also sit on WestCat, where we bring transit together, working regionally with other stakeholders, other council members in different cities. I'm also a member of MCE's board, where we provide lower cost, cleaner energy for our residents in the region. We have over 600,000 customers, and we're an $800 million business.
Great, next question, Raphael. It's
Leah,
Raphael.
Hey, how are you?
do you support forming a citizen police oversight review board to propose changes in police budgets, citizen contact policy, and to investigate citizen complaints?
Could you repeat the first part of the question? I didn't hear it.
Do you support forming a citizen police oversight review board to propose changes in police budgets, citizen contact policy, and to investigate citizen complaints?
Um, yes. I will say that the budget piece is a council decision, so that would not be for a citizen oversight committee. But yes, is the answer to the other ones, and I have worked to do that. There's lots of video of me doing that last year on council. So the short answer, sorry guys, but the answer is simply yes. I support those items.
Okay, back to me for the next question. Systemic racism has been prominent in the news. Do you feel that there is systemic racism present in your city? And if so, how would you address it as a member of city leadership?
Systemic racism is systemic, so it's in the system, right? So it does exist. It has existed throughout the history of our country. I think we put in place policies to try and to correct the issue, right? And so I do support those policies. In 2023, I supported project labor agreements, which is an example of how we try and create jobs that pay living wages, and within that, we have programs for women, minority owned businesses to try and support them and use our tax dollars to make sure they're equally distributed amongst all sectors of our economy. So I do support that. And I do believe it exists, and we continue to chip away at it. Simple solutions, which don't always solve the problem. Again, policies solve the problem, but simple solutions are things like our cultural festival, where we bring folks together to celebrate cultures. A lot of times our fears are based on those people, but when we get together, we realize those people are just like us. So that's a simple solution to the problem, but on a global scale, we do use policy, and Hercules does have a DBE policy, which promotes minority and women-owned businesses to try and support that. We also have funding for different programs for small businesses throughout our city, and so I do support it.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Um, Maria. Maria, you have the
You're
next question.
muted.
I lost my sheet there. That is question number
5.
5. Um, does your city have a plan to address the needs of the homeless? Do you know the current homeless rate in your city? And what are your plans to address the situation?
Yes, we have a plan. We currently have approximately 20 unhoused folks living in our community. That was based on the last census that was taken of the unhoused population. And what we have done is partner with the county, as has most of the cities on the West Contra Costa corridor. That includes El Cerrito and other cities. I think the fee is about $50,000, and we're in that first year of testing the program out. They provide services. They go out to the unhoused, and they offer services. People don't always accept the first time, but they keep coming. And when folks are willing to accept the assistance, they provide that assistance on behalf of our city, and we do that through providing housing, etc. And I have a couple more seconds here. Maria, could you
Sure.
repeat the question to make sure I answered every piece of it? There were three parts to that.
And what's your plan to address the situation?
Oh, okay, yeah, our plan is to go through this test phase of this initial project and then see what the data brings back to us, and we'll address those needs as we get that data back. We're about, I think, 6 to 8 months into a year-long pilot program.
Okay.
Raphael, you have question number 6.
Do you support or oppose rent stabilization and renter protections, i.e., just cause in your city? Why or why not?
Okay. For rent protections, we don't want rents escalating. And what we tend to find in our city is that the larger apartment complexes are doing that. What measures have we put in place? We have affordable housing in most of our new buildings as a component, which we're very lucky for, because for a while that was not required. We weren't allowed to require it. So our largest properties do have that. There is currently in our community, there's not been an ask for rent stabilization. I believe we do what our residents ask us to do as a council. However, if that becomes a challenge, I would support doing the research and then finding ways that help meet the renters' needs, while also understanding that we have needs of the property owner as well. So there's got to be a middle ground there. But we do support workforce housing in our community, and we do have multiple properties that provide workforce housing. So we're trying to meet all those needs, and by doing that, we by default, by the county's mandates or the county standards, meet all income groups, right? Because you can be up to $130,000 and still qualify for affordable housing. So we are meeting that need in our community currently.
Great, thank you. The next question is very similar to question number one, but very specific to you. What do you believe are the most pressing issues for the city?
I think our most pressing issues is development, and it's not about building more houses. I think we are good there. We have some programs for housing along the waterfront that is to support our transit station. We have to guarantee that 13 folks get on each train on average. And so there's some density housing going on that will be built in the future, right? It's zoned for, et cetera. Our challenge, though, is income as a community, right? As you bring more residents in, you need more police officers, need more firefighters. Fire is a separate agency, but it still comes on that same tax bill. And so I think that what we must do is preserve our retail space, and these are areas that are previously zoned for retail. I think it's essential that we maintain those. We are presenting to the voters opportunity to raise our sales tax. But we have a very small sales tax base. Most of our sales tax is business to business, and we need to do. I think we need to spend a lot of our time, and I'm committed to this in my next term to again encouraging businesses to work here and using our small business development fund to help businesses open. Helped 6 restaurants open over the last several years, but we have more work to do. We still have empty tenant spaces in our waterfront area.
Okay, I have the next question. Do you support ongoing financial support for the library, which allows for additional hours?
We provide us, yes, I encourage what we currently do. We have a great partner. We have a great librarian, Allison, and her team over at the library. We provide a small subsidy to them to keep that open. And as long as we can afford to do it, I think we should do it, right? And so our budget has a small deficit showing up in, I think, 4 years from now, but that has a possibility of ballooning. But as long as we can afford it, I think we should do it. And again, we have a sales tax that will be on the ballot, which will hopefully generate some will be approved, which will generate additional revenue to ensure we can continue to fund the library.
Great, thank you.
Sure. I'll also add, just for those who may not know, we also take care of maintenance of the library. So the library, they provide the staff, but we maintain it, and I think that's a good thing. And then we also, again, provide that small subsidy, I think, which I don't want to misquote the number. I think it's 40 or $50,000 a year. It's not a significant number that we support to help keep it open that extra day.
Thank you. Raphael.
Do you support the proposed development of the Hercules Transit Center? If so, what can you do as a council member to help make the Hercules Transit Center a reality?
Yes, I support the Hercules Hub or the Transit Center. What I have done specifically is ensure that we have bus stopping down there. So since I've been on WestCat's board, we implemented the bus service. It's not the most heavily used currently, and we have a plan to add it to daily service. Currently, it stops in the morning and the afternoon. We have a plan to make it a daily stop all day, 5 days a week. Other ways that I've supported the fund was going out and seeking regional help. So we've received lots of Measure J funding. I've been a member of WICTAC, which is where the half-cent sales tax from Measure J goes to be distributed back to source, which is back to our residents. We've also supported the Pathway to Transit. And I support the development downtown that will support, or at the waterfront that will support that project. So it's about seeking grant money, and our team is doing that now. And then just making sure the region is aware that this is a need, and it is on the regional's needs assessment. So it will be funded. How soon is a question we're still working on the answer for. We got $100 million that we need to raise. But once we're shovel ready, we believe we can get more grant money for that. But I'm supporting the project and will do what I can do, whatever that's necessary as a council member or as mayor to seek to get as many funds as we can through grants, federal and state.
Okay. What is your position on transitioning from fossil fuels to and refineries currently in or near your city?
We don't have any refineries in our city. There's a refinery up the street, and they are in the process of converting now, which we're glad to hear. It is a delicate balance. Those jobs are union jobs, and they pay union wages. And so we don't want them to go away completely because then we end up with a lower paid workforce. But it's about partnering. It's an issue for Rodeo Crockett because it actually is in their area. So we don't dictate what they do, but we do support the refinery's decision to go clean. They've got a solar panel array over there, and they are stepping closer and closer to being a cleaner, basically doing biodiesels and things like that at the refinery. So we're excited to hear that in Hercules. But again, we have no voting or say over that program, but we support cleaner, as I do on MCE, cleaner energy wherever we can get it.
Right.
And then, and I will say locally, we do have ordinances for EVs. I fought for those as well. I fought and voted for each of these items that we talked about. So I voted to approve them. It's not just talking. We've actually had those come before council, and I voted to approve them. In each of the cases, the ones that we've discussed here today have been approved by the majority of the council.
Thank you for that.
Sure.
I think, Maria, you have the next question, number 9. Maria?
Sorry, I mute myself. Do you support or would you vote for a moratorium on data centers in the face of increased data need of consumers in your area?
So I don't think we'd ever have a data center in Hercules. We just don't have the land zone for that. But I think that if we had that come up, and this has come up in Pittsburgh, what I would do is what the mayor there is doing, which is we'd have community meetings and we'd listen to community to see what the pros and cons were for the project. The community has say over what zoning is done, right, through the public hearing process. And I think that I would encourage that and I would then listen. I don't think I have ultimate say in what happens with a data center as a council member or even as a mayor, but I would listen to the community. And of course, our job is to listen and then take action. So that's what I would recommend we do. Again, I don't see that happening in Hercules. We don't have land for a data center. But that's what I would do if there was a proposal to bring one to Hercules. It'd be community outreach, community town halls, listening to the community, and then finding ways to implement that either by voting as a community asks us to do.
Right. And then the next question will be from Raphael regarding public safety.
Sure.
Okay, so I think we're structuring this one differently than we did with the previous set of questions. So it's a two-part question rather than two questions.
Okay.
First, would you oppose or support any contracts with surveillance corporations, e.g. Flock? And if so, what guardrails and oversight would you require? And second, what is the most and least as a percentage of general fund expenditures that you think your city's police department should have?
Can you ask the second piece? What is the most?
What is the most and least as a percentage of general fund expenditures that you think your city's police department should have?
Okay. All right. The first one was on contracting of surveillance. And I think what that literally was leading to was the flock camera question. Ironically, I just had a meeting with our police department on Monday of last week about flock. We have 25 flock cameras. Mike, it's 25, and they're all on arterial roads. They're not in neighborhoods per se. My concern with flock cameras is what flock does with that data. I can tell you in Hercules, we do not share information with ICE or any outside the state agencies. There's actually a law that governs this, so I think none of the state agencies are sharing this information outside the state of California. But there's a long list of who can see our data, and so from that we can see what they're doing with the data. The police showed me how they're capable of doing that, and that is my concern. It's also what does Flock do with the data, right? This is in the terms of agreement somewhere, and I think at some point we need to have a conversation with the community to see what they want. I will tell you, surprisingly, many Hercules residents like the concept of cameras. I think again, there's this perception that we have a crime issue. The data does not show that. But my issue with Flock is what they have done in the past with the data and the seeming not sharing the data. So, am I a fan of Flock? No. Are there other software programs out there? My police department tells me yes, and we'll be having a meeting with my city manager on Monday to discuss what those other options are. So that's my Flock answer. Again, it's about what the community wants. I will tell you a challenge with Flock is they are now in HOAs, and we have no control of what to do with that data. So my concern is how do we can we control that, right? Because again, we can ban them, and they can still be in the HOA on public streets being, on their light poles or in their pools or whatever from their social areas. So that's a challenge for us. And again, I'm doing research to figure out what we can do to protect our residents from that. What is the most and least for a police department? I don't have a number offhand. What I will tell you is we spend approximately 50% of our budget on police, and that's what most other cities do. And I think that's about enough. That's police only of our budget is police. Then we have other staff to pay in the city. And so I think that is a concern of mine that we don't go beyond where we are. Police services are expensive. It's not so much that we pay the police a lot of money, it's that their pension and healthcare, that package is very pricey. So again, we currently spend about 50%. I don't think we should be going much more above that number.
Thank you, Dion. Okay, I think we are at the end of our questions. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. And which will leave you time for a closing statement.
Okay.
You have a minute and a half.
Thank you. Again, guys, not guys, but again, to the committee, thank you for having me this afternoon. As I've said, as I indicated in my essays to the DPCCC, I've been a lifelong, and by lifelong, I mean since I was 18, Democrat, come from a family of them. My values are aligned with this party and with this group here. Your endorsement just shows my community that our values are aligned and that we have the same principles and goals going forward. I do believe in equity and diversity, regardless of what the current federal administration thinks. I think that the fact that we don't want it says that it probably is an issue. And so, at least at the federal level. So I think that we need that, and I support it. As a director at MCE, we do have programs, and we fight to insist that we keep those programs to benefit folks who have lower income levels. And I support that, and I support our community. And again, I think our challenge in Hercules is one of economic development, and I'm committed to spending the next few years working on that. I have been blessed to serve on many committees, Public Safety Committee, which is where I work to improve our streets, to make them safer for residents. That's all seniors, families, and children. We've done a major project in Village Parkway. We have another one coming on John Muir Parkway. And I want to continue to do that work. I also sit on the Economic Development Committee, where we develop plans and procedures to help make Hercules a sustainable place for businesses to be. I hope to continue to do that, and your support would help me move forward in that direction. Thank you guys for your time.